Is there any business?
Mr. President,
The Vice President.
I move that our chapter should purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers.
Second.
It's been properly made and seconded that our FFA chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for the new officers. It is debatable and amendable and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
The Vice President.
I believe that this is a fantastic idea. These FFA jackets truly represent the best traditions of our national lives, and I think that they are very, very crucial that our FFA officers represent our chapter and our FFA organization very greatly, and that we look very well wearing them, so please help me in passing this motion.
Mr. President,
The reporter.
Can we take one look around this table really quick? We have 4 new officers here actually, and they all look pretty well dressed to me. I think this is a pretty good way to throw away money, and it's kind of pointless. So please fail this motion.
Mr. President,
The Secretary.
I believe that this would be a great idea to purchase new jackets and shirts for our new officers, because as they are new officers, they need us to take care of them and really welcome them to our officer team so they can feel part of the team and included, and this is something that we should greatly consider. So please join me in voting yes.
Mr. President,
The Secretary. Oh, the Treasurer.
I think this is a terrible idea. As the treasurer, I know that the funds that we have are for other things that are more important than buying our new officers' outfits. When if they are not an officer, if they're an officer now, they should have already had this outfit by now. So I think this is a terrible idea, so please fail this.
Mr. President,
The Sentinel.
I believe this would be a great idea, as if we get FFA jackets and shirts for the new officers, we will look better as a team. And if we look better as a team, we feel more confident and do better. So stand with me and pass this motion.
Mr. President,
The Vice President.
I think that this is still a fantastic idea. Our treasurer doesn't really know what she's talking about. I think that our officers really need to be able to look as best as they can and feel the best they can. If you look at our Sentinel, he has grown a lot in the past year, and he is a new officer, and so he may have had to have a new shirt or a new jacket. So we really could have helped him look his best so he isn't trapped in tight clothing. So please help me in passing this motion.
Mr. President,
The Secretary.
I move to recess for 15 minutes.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to recess for 15 minutes. It is not debatable, but amendable as to time and requires a majority vote. Is there any amendments? Amendments. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Division of the House has been called for. Madam Secretary, will you please keep count?
Yes, Mr. President.
All in favor of recessing, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what was the count?
1 is for, 4 opposed.
Recess fails. Is there any other discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
The Treasurer.
I think this is still a very bad idea. As our chapter needs chapter success, by dressing our people, this will not show us very much chapter success, as our officer team already has extra jackets in the back of our egg room. So I think there would be much better things to spend our money on, such as doing a fundraiser for a different organization as in need. So please fail this.
Mr. President.
The Secretary.
I believe that we should purchase new jackets and shirts. Like the treasurer said, we do have some in the back of the FFA room, but those are not in nice condition. We need, the saying goes, look good, feel good, and we need our officer team to feel good and confident about themselves when we go into competition. If they are wearing old jackets that do not look as nice as our new ones, they will not feel as confident going into competition, and that they will not be ready to compete. So please join me in passing this motion.
Mr. President,
The Reporter.
this has got to be one of the most ridiculous ideas to come across this conference table. I mean, just look around. We as a chapter have taken full advantage of the Blue Jackets Bright Futures program. I mean, what do we need, a home jacket and an away jacket for everyone? Do we need a blue and a white one for when we go on the road? This is just a terrible idea. Please fail this motion.
Mr. President,
The Sentinel.
I believe this would be a great idea, as there are many people that want to be an officer, and maybe they will get to be an officer, and maybe they won't be able to afford their own jacket. And if we, as a chapter, purchase an FFA jacket and a shirt for them, they can be an officer and feel confident about themselves. So pass this motion.
Mr. President,
The Reporter.
I move to divide the question into 2 parts, with the first question stating, I move our chapter purchase FFA jackets for new officers, and the second part stating, I move that our chapter purchase shirts for new officers.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to divide the question into 2 parts. The first stating our chapter should purchase FFA jackets for new officers, and the second stating that our chapter should purchase new shirts for new officers. It is not debatable, amendable, and requires a majority vote. Is there any amendments? Amendments. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
division of the question fails. Is there another discussion on the main motion?
Mr. President,
The treasurer.
I move to lay this main motion on the table.
Second.
Been properly moved and seconded to lay this motion on the table. It is debatable but not amendable and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion? Discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Lay on the table passes. Is there any other business?
Mr.
Mr.
President,
The treasurer.
Mr. President,
The reporter.
I move that our chapter host a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
I
Second.
object to the consideration of the question.
Consideration of the question has been objected to. The question is, shall the question be considered? It is debatable but not amendable and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion? Discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor of considering the question, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
The question shall be considered. We are now discussing on the main motion stating that our chapter should hold a chili cook-off for National Chili Day. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
The reporter.
I think this is a great way to get ourselves out there as a chapter and bring the community together for some nice chili. This has got to be one of the most underappreciated holidays there is year-round, and I think we need to take full advantage of it for our chapter and have this chili cook-off. Please pass the motion.
Mr. President,
The vice president.
I think that this is a fantastic idea. As a vice president, I would be able to form a committee that would be able to organize this chili cook-off, and I'm also a big fan of national holidays, so please help me in passing this motion.
Mr. President,
The sentinel.
I believe this would be a great idea. Myself, I love chili, and I know, as a matter of fact, is our officer parents would even make chili for us. My mother makes some pretty good chili. So if we do this, we can bring everybody together. So vote yes.
Mr. President,
The treasurer.
I think this would be a great idea. As our Vice President said, our Sentinel did grow a lot this past summer, so I think this would be a great way to help him fill his stomach and also bring our chapter together and promote chapter success. So please pass this.
Mr.
The
President,
secretary.
I do not think that this is a good idea. We're talking about having our parents cook this chili for us, and that is not a good idea. They do not need this extra work. They're already busy raising us and taking care of the things that they do in their daily lives and their jobs, and they do not have time to cook extra chili. The FACS class also cooks chili and has a chili cook-off every single year for foods, and I do not think that we need to have another chili cook-off within our school. There are also cook-offs during Summerfest, and I think that we already have made too many cook-offs, so please fail this motion.
Mr. President,
Vice president.
I highly disagree with the secretary. I don't think you can ever have too many cook-offs because food is fantastic. That's why they both start with an F. I think that the weather is getting much colder and we really need to be cooking some nice warm food and to bring our communities together. So perhaps the secretary and I would be willing to get all these cook-offs and do them all at one time so we can have food, friends, and fun all together in one. So please help me in passing this motion.
Mr.
The
President,
reporter.
Just because the secretary doesn't know how to cook and would rather have her mommy do it for her doesn't mean that the rest of us can't. I think we would make a very productive team as a chapter officer team in having this chili cook-off, and I think it would be a great way to celebrate the National Chili Day. So please pass the motion.
Mr. President,
The treasurer.
I think this is a great idea. As a treasurer, I do know that we do have the funds for this because we could give the money that we make from this National Chili Day cook-off and give it to an organization that needs it. I think this would be a way to bring everyone together in the community and bring in other chapters from different areas, and we honor everything else that's national, like National Puppy Dog Day and everything else. So I think this would be a great idea to do this. So please pass this.
Mr. President,
The sentinel.
I believe this would be a great idea, as all the males on our officer team have a very good appetite. Maybe like the secretary does not have a very good appetite. But if we get everybody together with a good appetite, we can try many chilies. So I think it'd be a great idea. So pass this motion.
Mr.
The
President,
secretary.
I move the previous question.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to move to previous question. It is not debatable or amendable and requires a 2/3 majority vote. Madam Secretary, will you please keep count?
Yes, Mr. President.
All in favor of moving to previous question, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what was the count?
1 is for, 4 opposed.
Previous question fails. Is there any other discussion on the motion?
Mr. President,
The Secretary.
I do not think that we should have this chili cook-off. Who is going to cook the chili? The Sentinel recommended our parents, but they do not have time. Would the officer team cook the chili? We also do not have time, and there are not enough people to make multiple chilies to have a really good chili cook-off. We do not have time because we are busy with other officer activities and so many sports going on in our school. So please fail this motion.
Is there any other discussion?
Mr. President,
The treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to postpone this motion indefinitely. It is debatable but not amendable and requires a majority vote. Is there any discussion? Discussion. Here none, will proceed to vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
The postpone passes. Is there any other business?
Mr. President,
The vice president.
I move to adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. It is not debatable or amendable and requires a majority vote. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, please say no.
No.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you. Good job, guys.
Thank you for judging.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Voice vote on the object.
Is that 15? Object is too early also.
What was that?
The object was too early.
Because you haven't restated.
It hadn't been restated by the chair.
But I will, this does come up for debate sometimes, we've had that debate too. It does say, as long as it's before discussion has started, so does it have to be restated?
I believe it does. You can't object to something that has not been placed on the floor.
I've had that same debate, and someone told me that they thought that as long as it's seconded, it's debating, or it's on the floor.
It is not on the floor until it's restated by the chair.
No, because Mr. Becker is
asking for read of something before the president set the vote.
They can do it, they don't have to.
no,
do it.
Mr. Becker's in the other room,
They can do it whenever.
so Kindred will come in here.
Just vote them out and then come back after they're done.
Are you sure?
What is it for that not restating the motion on the agenda? Just because I know on page 27 we're talking about it, it doesn't say that in there. But I know what you're talking about, Brian, because I do the same, you know what I mean? But I just wanna be fair, because am I wrong, you know?
I should probably stop recording.
Time.
The meeting will come to order. What is the first item of business?
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for the new officers.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for new officers. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I think this would be a good idea to buy the new coats and jackets, because then they'll have fresh stuff and they'll just look good and feel good and perform good. So please vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Sentinel.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I don't think that we need new FFA jackets considering we already have ours, and we do not need new FFA shirts because we are currently making some for our dodgeball tournament coming up soon. So I encourage you all to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I agree with this. No, I think this is a terrible idea. This would cost quite a bit, and there's really no point, as we do already have FFA jackets, and I'm sure the shirts do not really have any significance to us. So I encourage you all to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I think this motion would be a good idea. Some of our officers that would be upcoming would not have, maybe not have jackets for the next season, and they might not have enough money to buy them. And also the shirts would be a good idea because then they'll have things to wear to school and to other FFA events. So for these reasons, vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I agree with the previous speaker. This would be a great idea. Some of us are still growing, so we could be growing out of our jackets and shirts, and also the kids who are coming up might not have jackets or shirts yet. So for these reasons, please vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
I agree with the motion. I think this would be a good idea because, like me, my collar is too tight and I choke a lot because it's so tight. So I think this would be a good idea to make sure everybody has a good airflow through their shirts and bodies. So I encourage you to vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President, I still disagree with this motion. Our jackets might be getting too small, but we always have extra in our back room. I don't think we need to order new ones, so I encourage you all to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Lay on the table fails.
Division.
A division of the assembly has been called for. All those in favor of the motion, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Lay on the table fails. Back to discussion on the main motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I still think this would be a terrible idea, because honestly, the FFA jackets pose almost no use to us, as we already do have our jackets right now. Not only that, the shirts are just frivolous. There's no point in getting this. It's really no use to any of us, and the cost is again a very important issue for us. So I encourage you all to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I move to divide the motion into two motions. One stating that I move our chapter purchase FFA jackets, and the other stating I move that our chapter purchase shirts for our new officers.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we divide the motion into two motions. One reading that the chapter purchase FFA jackets, and another motion reading that the chapter purchase shirts for our new officers. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, will not come to a vote. All those in favor of dividing this motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Division of the question fails. Back to discussion on the main motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I move to recess for 2 days.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we recess for 2 days. All those in favor of recessing for 2 days, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Recess fails. Back to discussion on the main motion.
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I still think this would be a good idea. We have enough money at this time to where this would be a good idea to buy these right now. Our officers may need new jackets, so this would still be a good idea. And our shirts, new shirts would be nice because our egg teacher has been talking about ordering new shirts. So for these reasons, vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I agree with the previous speaker. Who could have enough shirts? You know, it's the FFA, so who wouldn't want more FFA shirts? And like the Sentinel stated, we have jackets in the back room, but they don't have our names on them, so they have different people's names on them. So who would want to wear a jacket with somebody else's last name on it? So usually, please vote no or yes on this motion.
Is there any other discussion? Seeing none, we will now come to a vote. All those in favor of the chapter purchasing FFA jackets and shirts for new officers, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Motion fails. What is the next item of business?
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I move that our chapter host a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter hold a chili cook-off for National Chili Day. Is there any discussion?
Mr. President,
Reporter.
I think this would be a good idea for our community to get together and learn more about FFA, and it would also be good because a lot of people in the community like chili, and we would be providing them with good food. So for these reasons, vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Sentinel.
I disagree with this motion. When are we going to have enough time to host a chili cook-off? On the weekends, we're all trying to catch up on sleep and rest before school starts the next week. And on the weekdays, we have sports and other activities to be involved in. So I encourage you all to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I think that this is a great idea. I think that we could turn this into a fundraiser, which we could use some of the proceeds as for entering the chili cook-off into changing it so that we can donate it to a charity. And I just think all around that this is a great idea, and encourage you all to vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President.
Vice President.
I agree with the previous speaker. I think this would be a great idea. We could go out, meet some new friends, get more people involved in that FFA just because of the chili cook-off, and I think it would be just a blast. I encourage you to vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President?
Secretary.
I disagree with the previous speaker. We have a lot of stuff going on the weekends. The volleyball teams usually have tournaments on the weekends, and our football team is in playoffs. So for those reasons, please vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Recorder.
I think this would be a good idea. Like the treasurer stated, we can make this into a fundraiser and use it to give it to a charity. And it would also be a good way for our community to get together and also learn about FFA. So for these reasons, vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Stanley.
I object to consideration of the question.
Second.
It's been an objection to the consideration of the question has been called for. All those in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Objection fails. Back to discussion on the main motion.
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I still agree with the motion. I think this would be a great idea. We can, like as the treasurer stated, we can give the proceeds to charity. We can give it to St. Jude's Children's Hospital, and just spread the joy and maybe serve some chili there too. Who knows? So I'm here to vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Sentinel.
I still disagree with this motion. Who likes chili? I don't know anybody that likes chili personally. Maybe we could serve something else like hamburgers, tacos, anything else. I personally don't know anybody that likes chili, and I still do not believe that we have enough time. So I encourage you all to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we postpone this motion indefinitely. All those in favor of postponing this motion indefinitely, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Postpone indefinitely fails. Back to discussion on the main motion.
Mr. President,
Secretary.
I changed my mind on this motion. I think this is a good idea. The Sentinel said nobody likes chili, but I know many people who like chili, and that could really put us out there and make the community understand of how good of a chapter we are. So for these reasons, please vote yes on this motion.
Mr. President,
Treasurer.
I still think this motion is a great idea. We could use this as our community service hours by hosting it and just making sure that everything runs smoothly. And we do need these community service hours in order to graduate and to get our state FFA degree as well as our national. So I encourage you all to vote yes on this motion.
Is there any other discussion?
Mr. President,
Secretary.
move to a previous question.
Second.
Previous question has been called for. All those in favor of ending debate and going to a vote, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Previous question passes. We will now go to a vote on the main motion. All those in favor of the chapter holding a chili cook-off for National Chili Day, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Motion passes. Is there any new business?
Mr. President,
Vice President.
I move to adjourn.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Adjourn passes. The meeting is closed.
Thank you, Finley-Sharon.
Thank you.
Is there any further business?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Vice President.
I move that our chapter purchases FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for new officers. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Vice President.
I think this is a really good motion. Our officers work hard all year, and having new jackets and shirts that show that we're officers and stuff might even give other members an incentive. So get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes the reporter.
This motion brings happiness to my soul. I feel like this would be a great way to welcome in our new officers, getting them jackets and shirts to make them feel like they are very, very much respected and well informed. So get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes the Secretary.
I am strongly against this motion, seeing as most of our officers already have jackets. Why would we purchase new ones? We don't have a lot of money in our account the way it is, so please vote no on this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Sentinel.
I am greatly against this motion, seeing that jackets should be earned, not given. You should have to fill out your Blue Jackets Bright Future application and truly earn your jacket because you feel like you actually own it then rather than just giving it. So get behind me and fail this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the treasurer.
I strongly disagree with this motion. FFA jackets are $50 each, and as treasurer, I know that we don't have money for jackets and shirts, so this is a bad motion, so please fail.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the secretary.
I move that we take a 10-minute recess.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we take a 10-minute recess. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we'll now proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
The noes have it, motion fails. We will not take a 10-minute recess.
Division.
Madam President.
The division has been called for. All those in favor of taking a 10-minute recess, please rise. Be seated. Those opposed, please rise. Be seated. With a vote of 1 for and 4 against, the noes have it, motion fails.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I move to divide this motion so as to consider separately that our chapter purchase FFA jackets for our new officers and that our FFA chapter purchases new FFA shirts for our new officers.
Second. It has been properly moved and seconded that we divide the motion so as to consider separately that our FFA chapter purchase FFA jackets for new officers and our chapter purchase shirts for new officers. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
The noes have it, motion fails. We will not divide the motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Vice President.
I am still for this motion. Last year we didn't have very many people run for a chapter office, and I think if they know they get a new jacket and maybe a shirt, there might be some more younger kids that would like to run. So with that being said, I hope you all get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I'm still strongly for this motion. I think that because we get our jackets embroidered with our chapter office and the year, I think that it would be great to get the new jackets for the new officers. So for these reasons, I encourage everyone to vote in favor of this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes the treasurer.
I'm still strongly against this motion. We've actually bought shirts and jackets before, and I know everybody has a hard time with getting money in, and for that fact, I don't think we should because everybody has a bad responsibility issue, so please fail this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Sentinel.
I am greatly against this motion still, seeing that this just doesn't have a good ring to it, just giving away free stuff. I mean, our chapter is struggling financially. We need all the aid we can get, so get behind me and fail this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Secretary.
I am still against this motion. All of our officers already have jackets, so why would we purchase new ones? It would be a waste of our money. So please get behind me and fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move to lay this motion on the table.
Second. It has been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Motion passes. We will lay this motion on the table. Is there any further business?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I move that our chapter host a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Second.
Madam President, I object to the consideration of the question.
The consideration of the question has been objected to. Shall the question be considered? All those in favor of considering it, please rise. Be seated. Those opposed to considering it, please rise. Be seated. There are less than 2/3 opposed, and the objection is not sustained. It has been properly moved and seconded that our chapter hosts a chili cook-off for National Chili Day. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I personally love this motion. I think that this would be a great opportunity for our chapter and the community to come together and have a great event. Being the reporter, I could make some flyers and post them around the community so everyone could know about it and get involved. So please get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Secretary.
I am strongly against this motion. I don't even know what the National Chili Day is, so when would we would need to figure that out. And also, who would cook the chili? Like, who would want to be in this? I think a lot of people in our chapter wouldn't really want to be a part of this, so please get behind me and fail this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Sentinel.
I'm for this motion, seeing that this is a great way to get our community involved and show them how much fun our chapter can be. And there's just a great way to get the school involved also and get kids in this to learn different things about the FFA. So get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the treasurer.
I think this is a horrible idea. I actually really hate chili, and I know it can be either too spicy and then I get really sick and my stomach hurts. So I don't think this is a very good idea. We have too many liability issues, so please fail this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the secretary.
I agree with the views of the previous speaker. I have actually talked to other secretaries around the area, and they had a chili cook-off, and the chili actually made some people sick, and it turned out to be a big problem. So please get behind me and vote no.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the vice president.
I disagree with the views of the previous speaker. This is a really good way for, we have a rib cook-off every summer. So doing this, I'm sure there'd be a lot of community members that would love to do it. And so get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the secretary.
I move the previous question.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we move the previous question. All those in favor, please rise. Be seated. Those opposed, please rise. Be seated. With a vote of 1, 4, and 4, fails. We will not move the previous question. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the vice president.
I'm still for this motion. I'm sure Sean at the local grocery store would like to help support this with giving beans and stuff. And if people don't like to eat chili, they don't have to eat it. It's not like they're forced to eat it. So I hope you all get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I still find this motion to be a great opportunity for our chapter. I think that we could have this as a contest and have those who win get a special prize as an incentive for people to join. So get behind me and jump on the bandwagon to vote for this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that we postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the treasurer.
I think we need to completely kill this motion and postpone it. We are really tied, and I still think that this is a horrible idea and we don't need it. So please pass this postpone.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Sentinel.
this is a terrible idea. Getting rid of a motion forever and never being able to talk about it again, that just is a terrible idea. Like, we would never be able to even have the opportunity to do this. So get behind me and fail this postpone.
Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
Noes have it. Motion fails. We will not postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any discussion? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of holding a chili cook-off for National Chili Day, please say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed?
No.
The ayes have it. Motion passes. We will hold a chili cook-off for National Chili Day. Is there any further business?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the vice president.
I move to adjourn the meeting.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? The ayes have it. Motion passes. We will adjourn this meeting.
Thank you.
Meeting room will come to order. What is the first item of business?
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and FFA shirts for our chapter.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and FFA shirts for our members. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
Adoption of this motion would greatly benefit our chapter because all the jackets that we have now are old and worn out, and our new officers could use them. So therefore, I would advise the Assembly to pass this motion.
Mr.
The
President.
chair recognizes the reporter.
I move to divide the question to consider separately buying new FFA jackets and FFA shirts.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to divide the question into two parts to consider separately buying FFA jackets and second stating buying FFA coats. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, we'll now vote. All those in favor of dividing the question say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side.
Aye.
Motion fails. We now continue discussing the main motion. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I believe that this would be an amazing idea. I've been talking to other secretaries around, and their officers have done this before, and they just look amazing on them. Therefore, I urge you all to get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I am in favor of this motion because we already have officers that don't have their own jackets and they're using older ones. Therefore, I urge you all to get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I think this is a terrible idea. We already have FFA jackets that our chapter purchased. If people want new FFA jackets, they can purchase it themselves. Therefore, I urge the Assembly to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I believe a yes vote is the only way to go on this motion. Like the treasurer said, a lot of our officers have older jackets and it just doesn't look good because we don't match. Therefore, I urge the Assembly to pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I move to recess for 15 minutes.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to recess for 15 minutes. Are there any amendments? Amendments? Hearing none, we will now vote. All those in favor of recessing for the next 15 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side.
Aye.
Motion fails. We'll now continue discussing the main motion. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I still wish to speak in favor of this motion. We could put an article in the paper and show that our officers have all matching jackets, and it would show that we're trying to get out there and advance our chapter. Therefore, I urge you all to vote yes.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I agree with the views of the previous speaker. Not only that, but we have the money and funds in our account to purchase these jackets for them. So I urge you all to get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I still urge all of you to vote with me and pass this. Have you ever seen sports teams and they're all wearing the same thing and how cool they all look at events? We want to look like that. Therefore, I hope you all get behind me and pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move that we lay this motion on the table.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side.
Aye.
Motion fails. We now continue discussing the main motion. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I'm still against this motion. I think that if we're going to buy something, we should save our money for something else. The chapter can buy their own t-shirts, therefore I urge the Assembly to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the vice
I
president.
strongly disagree with the views of the previous speaker. If we would buy FFA shirts for our chapter, we would look really good because we do have a lot of community service projects where we're not wearing our jackets, and if we all had matching t-shirts, it would look very nice. So therefore, I urge the Assembly to pass this motion.
Is there any debate? Debate? Hearing none, we will now vote on buying FFA jackets and FFA coats for our chapter. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side.
Aye.
Motion fails.
Mr. President, I call for division of the Assembly.
Division of the Assembly has been called for. All those in favor, please rise. Madam Secretary, record 4 yes votes. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Madam Secretary, record 1 no vote. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what are the records of the voting?
There was 4 in favor and 1 against, Mr. President.
Due to the records of the voting, 4 in favor, 1 against, motion passes. What is the next item of business?
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I move that our chapter hold a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Mr. President, I object to consideration of the question.
Consideration of the question has been objected to. Shall the question be considered? All those in favor of considering the question, please rise. Madam Secretary, record 4 yes votes. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Madam Secretary, record 1 no vote. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what are the records of the voting?
There was 4 in favor and 1 against, Mr. President.
Due to the records of the voting, 4 in favor, 1 against, the motion will be considered. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
This could be a great fundraiser for our chapter because I know a lot of the people in our community would want to show up for it. Therefore, I urge you all to vote yes.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I believe that this is a terrible idea. There's been other chapters who have done this before, and it's just been a complete blowout for them. So why should we even try? Therefore, I hope you all fail this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I wish to speak against this motion. We have already done a chili cook-off at our school, and it took up a lot of time that we need to learn more in school, and we have other obligations. Therefore, I urge the Assembly to get behind me and fail this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the vice
I
president.
strongly disagree with the views of the 2 previous speakers. having a chili cook-off would be a great way to get our whole community involved, and it would be fun for everybody. So therefore, I urge the Assembly to pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I am in favor of this postpone because we have more important business to discuss at this moment. Therefore, get behind me and pass this postpone.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I urge the Assembly to fail this postpone because this is something small that we can talk about right now. We have time, we can get it done with and over with, so therefore I urge the Assembly to fail.
Debate.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I've been looking at the weather around for this whole time for the chili cook-off and the day of National Chili Cook-Off. The weather is unpredictable for that day, so we can't hold it without knowing how we're going to do it. Therefore, I hope you all get behind me and fail this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I believe a yes vote is the only way to go on this motion, and we can hold it at the Fair Building because that's where we hold a lot of our FFA events, and it's got a lot of space for a lot of people to show up because I know we would have a great turnout. So I strongly believe we need to pass this motion.
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I think this is a terrible idea. It's going to take forever to set up and take down. Therefore, I urge the Assembly to vote no on this motion.
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I move the previous question.
Second.
Previous question is moved. All those in favor of previous question, please rise. Madam Secretary, record 1 yes vote. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Madam Secretary, record 4 yes, no votes. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what are the records of the voting?
There was 1 for and 4 against, Mr. President.
Due to the records of the voting, 1 for, 4 against, the motion fails. We will now continue discussing the main motion. Is there any debate?
Mr. President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I still believe this is a terrible idea. Chili is messy and gets all over the place, and some people don't even like chili. So therefore, I still believe the Assembly should vote no on this motion.
Is there any debate? Debate? Hearing none, we will now vote. All those in favor of hosting a chili cook-off on National Chili Day, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side.
Aye.
Motion fails. Is there any further business?
Mr. President,
The chair recognizes the vice
I
president.
move to adjourn.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same side. Motion passes. The meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, Stanley. Good job.
Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Vice President.
I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers.
Second. It's been probably moved and second that our FFA chapter purchase new jackets and shirts for our new FFA officers. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Vice President.
I feel like this is a great idea. Our new officers put in the work to get that officer position. This would just be a great reward and kind of boost their confidence for their first year coming into his office. So please get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President. Secretary.
I disagree with the previous speaker. We just got new shirts last year for our officer team, and many of the officers are the same. So I don't really feel that we need to spend the money on getting new shirts since we just got some last year. So please fail this motion.
Madam President.
Reporter.
I move to divide the question as to consider separately. First, that our FFA chapter purchase FFA jackets for our new officers, and second, that our FFA chapter purchase new shirts for our new officers.
Second.
It's been probably moved and seconded to divide the question into to consider separately as first, our FFA chapter purchase FFA jackets for our new officers, and second, that our FFA chapter purchase new jackets for our officers. Is there any discussion? This is not debatable, but it is amendable. Are there any amendments? Amendments, seeing none, will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of dividing the question in two, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Noes have it, division failed. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Madam President.
Treasurer.
I feel like this would be a great idea to have our new chapter officers to get these new jackets and shirts. It'd just be a great way to boost their self-esteem going into it, because I know that most of us are new officers, so I just feel like it would be a great idea. So please give me in passing this motion.
Madam President.
Sentinel.
I feel like this motion's also a great idea. We always get shirts for just our chapter. Everybody in our chapter gets some. But if we would get some just for our new officers, that would make our officers stand out more and make us greater role models. So please pass the motion.
Madam President, reporter.
I don't think this motion is a good idea at all. Our Sentinel is talking about how we already get new shirts for all of our chapter members. That is very true, and I don't think we need to be ordering 2 separate sets of shirts each year. So I urge each and every one of you to fail this motion.
Madam President.
Treasurer.
I move to lay this table and lay this motion and all pending matters on the table due to our guest speaker arriving.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to lay this motion and all pending matters on the table due to the fact our guest speaker has just arrived. This is not to be an amendment. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Noes have it. Lay on the table failed. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Vice President.
I'm still strongly for this motion. You guys are forgetting about the FFA jacket. You're all debating about the shirts. Well, the FFA jacket, if our officers would all walk in with brand new FFA jackets coming into the year, we would just look really nice, and I think it'd bring our officer team together and make us look like a team. So please get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President.
Treasurer.
I still feel like this would just be a great idea to have new jackets and shirts. The jacket part, as the Vice President said, would just be a great way to boost our new officer team, being as we are all brand new officers besides just a few of us. So I still feel like it would be a great idea, so please get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President,
Reporter.
I still don't think this motion is a great idea. As our Vice President was talking about getting new jackets, well, I am not only a new officer, I'm also a fairly new member, and I just got a new jacket, and personally, I don't need another one, so please fail this motion.
Madam President.
Secretary.
I've gotten jackets before and they just have not turned out good. I've been on the officer team when they've purchased jackets. Nobody's worn them. They didn't go over well. Nobody liked the way they looked. So I feel like this same thing's going to happen. Same with the shirts. So just please fail this motion.
Madam President.
Sentinel.
I still feel like this motion is a great idea. The jackets, we would order jackets. We would let every officer have their input, and the jackets every officer would like. And this would just be a great idea to do this. So please pass this motion.
Madam President.
Secretary.
I move to recess for 10 minutes due to informal consultation.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded to recess for 10 minutes for informal consultation. All those in favor of recessing, this is not debatable, it is amendable. All those in favor, all those amendments seen and will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of the recess, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it, recess passes.
Division.
Division has been called for. All those in favor of the recess, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. With 2 in the affirmative, 3 in the negative, recess fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion? Discussion, seeing none, will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it, motion passes. Is there any new business?
Madam President,
Reporter.
I move that our chapter host a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Second motion.
It's been properly moved and seconded that
Object to consideration of the question.
the question has been objected to. The question is, shall the question be considered? All those in favor of this, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. With 3 in the affirmative, 2 in the negative, object to the consideration of the question fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Reporter.
I think this is a great idea. Hosting a chili cook-off will give members of our community as well as our chapter to see our chapter's creative cooking skills, and also to bring out a little bit of our competitive side that we all know that we have. So please pass this motion.
Madam President.
Sentinel.
I feel like this motion's a terrible idea. In the past years, we have been doing a chili cook-off in our school. Everybody can participate, but we have got rid of that in these past few years because it is a lot of work and it makes a big mess in our FFA room, and this is not a good idea. So please fail the motion.
Madam President.
Vice President.
I'm strongly against this motion. Our Sentinel was talking about how we had a chili cook-off previously and it failed. We should learn from that example and realize that if we had started up again, it would just fail again. So please get behind me in failing this motion.
Madam President.
Treasurer.
I feel strongly against this motion as well. I feel like since we already got rid of it once, I feel like there's no need to bring it back a second time. It obviously failed for a reason, so I still feel like it'd just be an awful idea, so please get me in failing this motion.
Madam President. Secretary.
I think this motion's a great idea. Really, it's probably the best motion I've heard all day. We used to do this, some people don't really like cleaning up afterwards. But personally, I love eating the chili. I love trying everybody's chili. It's a great way to get people in to the FFA room. People from the school that are coming in trying our chili. It's a great way not only to, have fun, but also bring new members in to try and see, oh, the FFA puts this on. Maybe I might want to do this. So I think it's a great thing to do, and I think we should really pass this motion. So please get behind it and pass this motion.
Madam President,
Reporter.
this motion is a great idea. I know a lot of people are talking about how we already got rid of our chili cook-off, but since we have gotten rid of it, I've heard many complaints from people in the community as well as just in our school that they want to bring it back. And being the reporter of our chapter, I could definitely advertise it, write newspaper articles about it, make some Facebook posts, and just get the word out there and make more people come. So I urge each and every one of you to pass this motion.
Madam President,
Vice President.
I'm still against this motion. Our reporter is talking about how everybody's been talking about where did the chili contest go. Personally, I have not heard anybody say or even mention the chili cook-off since we get rid of it. If anything, I've heard people agree with us getting rid of it because it got rid of the mess and the cleanup. So please get behind me in failing this motion.
Madam President,
Secretary.
I move the previous question.
Second.
It's been properly moved to previous question. This is not debatable and it is not amendable. All those in favor of previous question, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. With 1 in the affirmative, 4 in the negative, previous question fails. Is there any further discussion on the main motion?
Madam President,
Sentinel.
I still feel like this motion's a terrible idea. If we hold this chili cook-off and this passes, where are we gonna hold it? If we hold it in the new shop and somebody messes up, spills their chili, the new shop's gonna be a big mess. And this is the first year in the new shop, so I feel like this is a terrible idea and I don't wanna mess up our new shop already. So please get behind me and fail this motion.
Madam President,
Secretary.
I disagree with the previous speaker. Since we do have a new shop now, we have that whole old one that we can go get messy and nobody's really gonna care about that. I know Ms. Tonneson loves cleaning up afterwards too, so I think we'll have somebody to clean up there. And it's just a great thing to do, so please pass this motion.
Madam President.
Treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second postpone.
It's been properly moved and seconded to postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any discussion?
Madam President,
Treasurer.
I still feel like this would just be a terrible idea in general, and I think we should just get rid of this motion. It's such a worthless idea, and I feel like a lot of people here would agree with me, so please get behind me in passing this postpone.
Is there any further discussion on the postpone? Discussion, seeing none, will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of postponing this motion, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no.
No.
Ayes have it, motion's postponed.
Madam President,
Vice President.
I move to adjourn.
Second to adjourn.
It's been properly moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning, please say aye.
Aye.
All opposed say no. Ayes have it, adjourn passes. Meeting adjourned.
Is there any further business?
Madam President,
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
This motion is truly a grand idea because our officers already have normal FFA shirts, but there is nothing that sets us apart from the other members, and we have truly earned these extra shirts that give us that recognition. It's for these reasons why I implore you all to join me as an assembly in letting this promotion prevail.
Madam President. The chair recognizes the secretary.
This motion is a golden opportunity for our members to actually know who our chapter officers are, and if they get confused, they can look at our shirts and see who's who. So please help and pass this motion.
Madam President. The chair recognizes the sentinel.
This is an outstanding idea because, as we know, life gets in the way and sometimes it's harder for others to purchase things. By our chapter doing this, it also gives us a way for them to look out for our others, and it really gives a good outlook for our chapter, so we should pass this motion.
Madam President. The chair recognizes the reporter.
I move to divide this motion into two parts. The first stating that I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets, and the second stating that our chapter purchase FFA shirts for our new officers.
Second. It has been properly moved and seconded that we divide this motion into two parts. The first stating that our chapter purchase FFA jackets for our new officers, and the second stating that our chapter purchase FFA shirts for our new officers. Are there any amendments? Any amendments? Any amendments? Seeing none, we will proceed to vote. All in favor of dividing the question, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
The noes have it. Motion fails. We will not divide the question. We are back to discussing on the main motion. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
This motion is a travesty, as we have not looked into the cost of getting new FFA jackets or shirts for our officers. So therefore, I would implore you all to jump on my bandwagon and vote no for this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I see brightness in this motion. We as officers do not get enough recognition for the hard work that we are putting in for our members and going to different volunteering events. And this is why I implore you, the Assembly to vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
Once again, I rise in favor of this motion because it would allow our members to wear these shirts around the school, and certain people who are not in FFA could come up and talk to us, knowing that they would be able to ask questions and that we would be able to answer them for them, because we would have this officer position and we would know more about our chapter. It's for these reasons why I hope you all vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I move that we take a 10-minute recess.
Second.
It has been properly moved and seconded that we take a 10-minute recess. Are there any amendments? Any amendments? Any amendments? Seeing none, all in favor of taking a 10-minute recess, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
The noes have it. Motion fails.
Division.
Division has been called for. All in favor of taking a 10-minute recess, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. The vote reads 2-4, 3 against. The noes have it. Motion fails. We shall not take a 10-minute recess. We are back to discussing on the main motion. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
This motion does not need to be passed, as I have been on FFA.org and looked at the prices of these FFA jackets and our new shirts I would be ordering for our officers, and they cost way too much money than we have than our budget allows us for. So please get behind me in slamming the door on this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
This is an outstanding way to get our chapter out when we are out volunteering and attending numerous activities that our chapter attends to. We wear a lot of the same FFA t-shirts, so it would be awesome for our new officers to have different shirts for people to recognize us. So please get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I agree with the previous speaker. For our officers, we take pride in what officer positions we are, and this will really show them that we know what positions we are. So please help and pass this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I firmly stand with my decision on this motion. I see by purchasing these new appearances, it really gives us a warm welcome, and it really would shine off our chapter and really let people know who we are and give us the recognition that we deserve after all of our hard work, so we should pass this motion.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move to lay this motion on the table as we have refreshments waiting for us.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we lay this motion on the table. All in favor of laying this motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. This motion will be laid on the table. Is there any further business?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I move that our chapter host a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that our chapter.
I object to this consideration of a question.
Objection has been called for. The question is, shall we consider the question? All in favor of considering the question, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. Be seated. The vote reads 4-4, 1 against. The ayes have it. Motion carries. We shall consider the question. We are now discussing the main motion, which states that our chapter hosts a chili cook-off on National Chili Day. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I look at this motion in great success because we have been competing so much lately within our chapter, and our members have been working really hard. So why can't we just have a fun day and hosting a chili cook-off and let our members laugh and have fun and bond together? So please get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President. The chair recognizes the secretary.
This motion is absolutely phenomenal. For our advisor, Mr. Schmaltz, has an amazing chili recipe, and I'm sure he'd be gladly to show it off to everyone and win this cook-off. So please help and pass this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I highly agree with the maker of this motion because it would give our members a break from their hard work of their SAEs and all of the volunteer activities that we do, and give them some fun time where they don't have to worry about such a serious competition. It's for these reasons why I hope you all vote yes on this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
This motion hurts my ears hearing that you want to pass it, as many of our FFA officers are allergic to many things that are in the chili recipe. So please help me and slam me the door on this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the Sentinel.
I believe that this will not be a great idea for a motion whatsoever, because I've talked to many other officers and other members, and many of them are not a fan of chili, and also the attendance rate would not be good, so therefore we would just be wasting time and money for this, so we should fail this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the Secretary.
Once again, I stand in favor of this motion. For this is a great way for us officers to bond with our other members of our FFA chapter and get to know them even better. So please help and pass this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the reporter.
I still stand in favor of this motion. I know at least 3 people who would gladly like to donate the hamburger for the chili if they can come and watch this cook-off on National Chili Day. So I implore you all to get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
I move to postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the treasurer.
We have discussed on this motion enough, and I do not think there's enough time to And I do not think we have enough time to discuss on it anymore, so please help me in passing this postpone.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the secretary.
I move the previous question.
Second. It's been properly moved and seconded that we move the previous question. All in favor of moving the previous question, please rise. Be seated. All opposed, please rise. The vote reads 5-4-0 against. The ayes have it. The previous question shall be moved. We are now voting on the motion to postpone this motion indefinitely. All in favor of postponing this motion indefinitely, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
No.
The noes have it. Motion fails. We shall not postpone this motion indefinitely. We are back to discussing on the main motion. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
Once again, I would have to say that this motion is truly a great idea for our chapter, because I know that a lot of our members are in cooking class, and so they are learning all of these new skills, and so they would definitely want to put those skills to the test in this competition. It's for these reasons why I implore you all to join me as an assembly in passing this motion.
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the sentinel.
I cannot stand by this motion whatsoever. I know many of us do not like chili, and by far no one even knows what National Chili Day is, and so the attendance rate, I state again, will just not pass whatsoever. And I know many attenders will not like to come to this whatsoever, so we must fail this motion.
Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
The chair recognizes the vice president.
I move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been properly moved and seconded that we adjourn this meeting. All in favor of adjourning the meeting, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? The ayes have it. Motion carries. This meeting will be adjourned.
Thank you, Mandan.
Is there any further business?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Vice President.
I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers. Is there any discussion?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Vice President.
I really believe that we need to pass this motion. When people become officers, they need more shirts, and they're going to be using their jackets more often, and they're going to be working hard, so I believe that we should pay them back for this duty that they're serving to the FFA. Therefore, I'll encourage you to vote yes. Madam President?
Chair recognizes reporter.
I move that we divide this question by first considering purchasing jackets and then considering shirts.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that do we divide the question, first considering jackets, second shirts. All those in favor? Are there any amendments? Amendments. Seeing none, we'll now proceed to vote. All those in favor of dividing the question into two, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Motion fails.
Division.
Division has been called. All those in favor, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Motion fails.
Madam President?
Chair against Sentinel?
I am against this motion. I believe that this is something that isn't necessary. Our officers already have jackets, and shirts are necessary because we already order shirts as a chapter, so this is something that we don't need. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote no.
Madam President,
Chair against Secretary?
wish to speak in favor of this motion. I think that if an officer doesn't have FFA jackets, it'd be very important that we purchase it for them so that they feel included. And I also think shirts would be a great idea because that will also help them feel included as well. So therefore, I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President? Chair against reporter?
I disagree with this motion. I believe that FFA members, for our officers, it's already too late for them to get jackets as they're already in office. everyone in the chapter should get shirts, not just the officers, and I believe that the officers they already have these jackets and they already have their offices on them, so I don't believe so I encourage you all to vote no.
Madam President, Chairman's Treasurer.
I wish to speak against this motion. I don't think this is a good idea. Our chapter already buys our green hands FFA jackets, so our officers should have jackets already, and our jackets should be in good condition still, so we don't really need to buy them another jacket. So therefore, I encourage you all to fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chairman's Secretary.
I move that we recess for 5 minutes for informal consultation.
Second. It's been moved second that we recess for 5 minutes for informal consultation. Are there any amendments? Seeing none, we will now proceed to vote. All those in favor of recessing for 5 minutes for informal consultation, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Motion fails. We will not recess.
Madam President.
Chairman is Vice President.
I really believe we need to pass this motion. Even though we already get shirts, as an officer, you're in your official dress way more than if you're just a member. So you need more shirts and more things to wear. So you need to, you're going to need to be able to wear them and as all the events are going on. In addition, I really believe that this is a way that we can show the officers that they are important for all that they do. Therefore, I'll encourage you to vote yes.
Madam President, Chairman is Sentinel.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I don't think this is something the chapter should be responsible. We are representing our chapter. We are giving to our chapter. We shouldn't be asking for more in return. So therefore, I encourage you all to vote no.
Madam President, Chairman is Reporter.
Hearing debate from the other officers, I am now in favor of this motion. I believe that this is a great payback to the officers that have spent time in FFA and they have become really involved. Some officers may not be able to afford jackets for themselves, and it's just a great way to show the FFA that we are helpful to them. So therefore, I encourage you all to vote yes.
Madam President,
Chairman is Treasurer.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I don't think this is a good idea. We already have jackets and white shirts, and they're really not that expensive to buy. So therefore, I encourage you all to fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chairman is Secretary.
I am in favor of this motion. I think that for the reason of not being expensive, this is something easy that our chapter can do. I think that yes, a lot of people that are going to be officers already have jackets, but if they don't, we need to buy one for them. And lastly, once again, I think T-shirts would really help have the officers feel included. So therefore, I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President,
Chairman is Treasurer.
I move that we lay this motion on the table, seeing we have more urgent business.
Second. It's been moved second to lay this motion on the table. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Motion passes.
Madam President,
Chairman is Reporter.
I move that our chapter hosts a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Second.
I object to the consideration of the question.
Objection has been called. Shall the question be considered? All those in favor of considering the question, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed to considering the question, please rise. Be seated. Motion passes. We will consider the question.
Madam President,
Chairman is Reporter.
I am in favor of this motion. I believe that it's a great fundraiser for our FFA to host a chili cook-off. The members of the community would love this, and it's just a great way to get FFA members involved. So therefore, I encourage you all to vote yes.
Madam President,
Chairman is Treasurer.
I disagree with the maker of this motion. I think this is a bad idea. We already have a chili feed in November during our labor sale, and the FCCLA already holds a beef cook-off, so I don't think it's a good idea to do something so similar to it. So therefore, I encourage you to fail this motion.
Madam
President,
Chairman is Secretary.
I move previous question on all pending matters.
Second.
Previous question has been moved on all pending matters. All those in favor, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Motion fails.
Madam President.
Chairman is Sentinel.
I disagree with this motion. I believe that this is something that we don't have the time for. As FFA officers, we don't have our own kitchen or home ec capabilities, so we would have to talk to FCCLA and look at other organizations for help with this. And I believe this is something that we don't have time to do. So therefore, I encourage you all to vote no.
Madam President.
Chairman is Vice President.
I am against this motion. I really believe that we don't have any time during the year to do this. As FFA officers, we're really busy, so we wouldn't be able to organize it. In addition, it'd just be repeating our chili feed that we do during the labor sale, so that wouldn't be logical. Therefore, I'll encourage you to vote no.
Madam President.
Chairman is Secretary.
I am in favor of this motion. I think doing the chili feed with the labor sale will give us experience and something that we know how to do this. And I also think that we can talk to FCCLA to see what they've done with their beef cook-off. And I think this is just a really exciting thing to do because everyone likes chili. So therefore, I encourage you all to pass the motion.
Madam President,
Chairman is Vice President.
hearing the last speaker, I have changed my mind on this motion. I really believe that maybe we can do this instead of the chili feed at our labor auction, so that it will get more awareness out about all of the benefits that agriculture does for food in the industry. And I also believe that we could really be able to get our community members more involved with this. Therefore, I'll encourage you to vote yes.
Madam President.
Chairman Sentinel?
I still disagree with this motion. I don't believe this is something that'll work. National Chili Day is just a random day in the year, so it doesn't work out for any of our schedules. It's hard to schedule, and I just don't believe we have enough participants, so therefore I encourage you all to vote no.
Madam President,
Chairman's Treasurer?
I move that we postpone this motion indefinitely.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any discussion?
Madam President?
Chairman's Treasurer?
I don't think this is a motion we need to be talking about right now. Most of our members aren't here to attend this meeting and they don't have a say in what we're doing, and this motion really isn't relevant to what the FFA is and what we're doing, so therefore I encourage you all to pass this postponement.
Madam President? Chairman's reporter?
I disagree with the previous speaker. I believe that this is an easy decision that can be made now. We don't need to figure out any more information about it, and if we want to start planning this now, we need to figure out what our decision is going to be. So therefore, I implore you all to vote no.
Madam President,
Chairman and Secretary?
I am in favor of this postponement. I think that this actually really isn't something that we really need to talk about. Like the Sentinel said, it's just a random day in the year, and so I don't think this is going to work out anyway. So therefore, I do encourage you all to vote in favor of this postponement.
Is there any further discussion? Discussion. Seeing none, we'll now proceed to vote. All those in favor of postponing this motion indefinitely, please say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Motion passes. We'll postpone it indefinitely.
Madam President?
Chairman and Vice
I
President?
move that we adjourn this meeting.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn this meeting. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Motion passes. Meeting is adjourned.
Time. Is there any further new business?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Vice President.
I move that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers. Is there any debate?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Vice President.
This motion brings a smile to my face. I remember zipping up my blue jacket for the first time, and this overwhelming sense of pride came over me. There is no doubt that these new officers will have the same sense of pride that I did. So I believe that we should purchase these new jackets. I encourage you all to get behind me passing this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes Secretary.
I think this motion is a terrible idea. We only have one new officer this year, so this would be a waste of our time and a waste of our money since we only have one new officer this year. So I encourage you all to vote down this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes Treasurer.
This motion hurts my head. Do we not know how expensive FFA jackets are? We simply just do not have the funds for this right now. And on top of that, we'd even be getting shirts. That's even more money to spend. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote down this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes Sentinel.
I think this is a fantastic idea. I know the last district leadership we went to, a lot of our assistant officers weren't wearing their jackets and we just looked super unprofessional. So I feel like if we bought jackets for them, we would just walk in like a team that we are. So I urge you all to pass this motion.
Madam President. Chair recognizes the reporter.
I move to divide the question as to separately considering our chapter purchasing FFA jackets and our chapter purchasing shirts for the new officers.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to divide the question to separately consider our chapter purchasing FFA jackets and considering our chapter purchasing shirts for the new officers. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of dividing the question say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
Noes have it and the motion is lost. The question will not be divided. Is there any further debate on the motion that our chapter purchases FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes Sentinel.
I still think this is a fantastic idea. I know when we do a lot of volunteering work, just such as the Great Plains Food Bank, we like to wear like shirts or like polos, so we all match and we look very professional. And I think that would just be a great added thing for our chapter. So I urge you all to pass this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the Secretary.
In order to gather more information, I move to recess for 15 minutes.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to recess for 15 minutes. Are there any amendments? Hearing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of recessing for 15 minutes, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
Noes have it, and the motion is lost. We will not recess for 15 minutes.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I am highly in favor of this motion. It simply brings tears of joy to my eyes. Through this organization, I have learned so many new skills and just gained so many new memories. This may be one jacket, but I have gained the memories of winning AgCom at state and just being able to practice with everybody. So for these reasons, I think everybody would be very, very pleased as a new officer to get a jacket. So please get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the Treasurer.
I still cannot support this motion. Everybody values things that they buy themselves more than just getting it for free. I think that they would not take care of these jackets and that they just would not treat it poorly, so it would be a waste of our money. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote down this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes Vice President.
I disagree with the previous speaker. I know I was given my jacket for free because I did the Creed contest at district leadership. And I strongly value this jacket. As you can see, I'm wearing it right now. So I believe that you all should pass this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the Secretary.
I still think this motion is a horrendous idea. I know that the Napoleon FFA chapter, they bought new jackets and t-shirts for all their new officers, and then they didn't have anyone run the next year, so it was a complete waste of time and money, so we should not pass this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the reporter.
my brother is a new officer and he doesn't have a jacket yet. I think that he should be able to have a jacket to wear to contests because he doesn't have one and he would have to buy it himself. If our chapter were to buy it for him, he would be so pleased and take great care of it. So I think that we should buy these jackets. Please get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Treasurer.
due to limited time and more urgent business to attend to, I move that we lay this motion on the table.
Second. It's been moved and seconded that this motion be laid on the table. All those in favor of laying this motion on the table, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
The noes have it, and the motion is lost. This motion will not be laid on the table. Is there any further debate?
I vote for division.
Division has been called for. Madam Secretary, please assist me in counting votes. All in favor of laying this motion on the table, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what was the count?
1 affirmative and 4 negative, Madam President.
1 affirmative, 4 negative. Seeing that there's less than the majority in the affirmative, the motion is lost, and this motion will not be laid on the table. Is there any further debate on the motion that our chapter purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers? Hearing none, debate. Hearing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of our chapter purchasing FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say no.
No.
The noes have it, and the motion is lost. Our chapter will not purchase FFA jackets and shirts for our new officers. Is there any further new business?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the reporter.
I move that our chapter host a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that our chapter hosts a chili cook-off on National Chili Day.
I object to the consideration of the question.
Consideration of the question has been objected to. The question is, shall the question be considered? Madam Secretary, please assist me in counting votes. All those in favor of considering the question, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what was the count?
3 affirmative and 2 negative, Madam President.
3 affirmative and 2 negative. Seeing that there's less than 2/3 in the negative, the motion to object is not sustained, and the question will be considered. Is there any debate on the motion that our chapter hosts a chili cook-off on National Chili Day?
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the reporter.
Our attendance in chapter meetings have been going down lately, and I think that if we had a chili cook-off on National Chili Day, that we would not only get a bunch of more members, but it would also be fun and members would take more out of it. For these reasons, get behind me in passing this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Treasurer.
This motion petrifies me. There's currently an E. coli outbreak in ground beef. That is a liability that we just simply do not need on our FFA chapter. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote down this motion.
Madam President.
Chair recognizes the Vice President.
I think this motion is an atrocious idea. I remember my sister going to the ER because she burnt her mouth in the hot chili that I had at my house one day. And I just don't think that having chili at a cook-off at our meeting would be very productive or aid in anything. Therefore, I encourage you to fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Sentinel.
this idea is worse than plastic straws. Ever since I was younger, whenever I would eat chili, I would always get sick and just be puking up everything.
that I've ever eaten the next day. So I feel like if we were to have chili at a meeting, I would just go home and just throw it all up. Please, FFA members, fail this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes Secretary.
I am in love with this motion. I was talking to the secretary from the One-Year FFA chapter, and they did a chili cook-off, and it was a huge success for them. So, and they recruited 17 new members, and that was amazing for their chapter. And so, if it's a success for them, why can't it be a success for us? So I encourage you all to pass this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the reporter.
This motion makes my stomach happy. My family has a great recipe, and I would be pleased to share it with all of you. If we were to have this, we would not only be able to eat this and have a fun time, but we'd also be able to have our meeting and learn new things there. For these reasons, get behind me and pass this motion.
Madam President, Chair recognizes the Vice President.
I can't help but disagree with the motion more. Chili ingredients are really expensive, and I don't think members are going to go out and purchase them just for a chili cook-off. So therefore, I believe you should fail this motion.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Secretary.
I move the previous question.
Second. The previous question has been moved. Madam Secretary, please assist me in counting the votes. All those in favor of ordering the previous question, please rise. Be seated. All those opposed, please rise. Be seated. Madam Secretary, what's the count?
1 affirmative and 4 negative, Madam President.
1 affirmative, 4 negative. Seeing that there's less than 2/3 in the affirmative, the motion is lost and the previous question will not be moved. Is there any further debate on the motion that our chapter hosts a chili cook-off on National Chili Day?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Treasurer.
I move that this motion be postponed indefinitely.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to postpone this motion indefinitely. Is there any debate?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes the Treasurer.
I think that this postponement is completely necessary. There's way more urgent business that we need to attend to right now. We have nationals coming up, so we have lots of studying to do and a lot that we need to get done for that. Therefore, I encourage you all to vote in favor of this postponement.
Madam President. Chair recognizes the Secretary.
We cannot postpone this motion. We have other things that we are dealing with next week, and so if we deal with this now, we will be able to plan this out and be able to plan all the necessary things for it. And if we postpone this, we'll forget about it, and it won't ever happen. So I encourage you all to vote down this postponement.
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Sentinel.
I think this postponement is a great idea. We still cannot risk having all of our members getting sick from this chili, and I think that we should just kill it and just not have to deal with it anymore. So I urge you all to pass this postponement.
Is there any further debate? Debate. Hearing none, we shall proceed to vote. All those in favor of postponing this motion indefinitely say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no.
No.
The ayes have it and the motion passes. This motion will be postponed indefinitely. Is there any further new business?
Madam President,
Chair recognizes Vice President.
I move to adjourn.
Second. It's been moved and seconded to adjourn. All those in favor of adjourning say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. The ayes have it and the motion passes. This meeting is now adjourned.